thanks for joining us on Breakfast. The government should issue guidance telling parents not to give smartphones to those children under 11 years old, as a way perhaps to avoid depression and anxiety. This is according to a leading Royal College psychiatrist.
It's a debate in households across the country, isn't it? When does your child get their first phone? What kind of phone? This warning comes after yesterday's Ofcom report, which we covered, which said that people in the UK now check their phones on average every 12 minutes, and lots of us probably a bit more often than that. Let's speak to Dr. John Golden from the Royal College of Psychiatrists, who joins us now from our London newsroom. Good morning to you. Thank you for coming on Breakfast. So what do you say? Don't give a smartphone to children under 11. Why not?
Well, this is guidance. This is a suggestion that the Royal College of Psychiatrists has come up with. We're not saying that it's absolutely essential that no children under 11 should have smartphones, but we do think that that's a reasonable cut-off and a reasonable recommendation for parents today. If you look at the social media apps such as Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram, the age recommendations are for above 13-year-olds, so there's no particular reason for a junior school child to have a smartphone.
Apart from the fact that they will say, well, all my mates have got smartphones, and that's the way we function now in our class, in our year at school. It's the new normal.
They would say that, and lots of 9, 10-year-olds say that all their friends have smartphones and they tell their parents that, but I think when the parents actually talk to each other, they find that that's not necessarily the case. I mean, we want our young people to be interacting face-to-face, to be getting out, playing outside and so on. And there's quite a lot of risk associated with social media at the age of 9 and 10. As we know, there's sort of the sense of fear of missing out and feeling that you're somewhat addicted to your phone. We know from the Ofcom report that adults look at their phones every 12 minutes on average. And we need to set a good example for our children. We want our children to be doing other things other than just looking at their phones and social media, particularly in junior school.
The thing is, they do lots of things, don't they? I mean, kids today seem to do more than we ever did when we were children, but they've also got their phones as well. It's just part of modern life, and if they haven't got a phone themselves, they're on their parents' phones, aren't they? It's just, there's no getting away from it, surely.
Well, there is, in some sense, there is no getting away from it. We're suggesting this guidance for junior school children. In some countries, such as Ireland and France, they're making suggestions that social media should not be available for children under the age of 16, and we think that that is probably going too far. You can't really put the genie back in the bottle, but we do think that parents are crying out for recommendations in this area, and we think that a reasonable cut-off to suggest is that junior school children don't have access to smartphones or don't have their own smartphone. They can use their parents sometimes, and obviously it's a decision that parents have to make for themselves, but this we think is a reasonable broad guidance.
We were talking earlier this morning about a separate debate about bringing up kids and whether children do enough and take enough risks and have enough time on their own these days, just exploring. I suppose one of the reasons parents don't let their children go out is because they can't contact them. Maybe a phone allows that sort of contact of communication, which actually then gives kids more freedom and more opportunities.
Yeah, I think that's quite a reasonable argument that children aged 10 might need a phone, but they don't necessarily need a smartphone with access to the internet and all sorts of social media. I think you can get basic phones where you can text or contact your parents and be contactable without needing access to Instagram, Facebook, etc., which in my view are not particularly appropriate for 9 or 10-year-olds.
OK, Dr. John Golden, thank you very much indeed. Let us know what you think of that in the usual way this morning. We'll maybe read out some of your comments in an hour's time, because it's kind of a rite of passage, isn't it, for some kids?
It
like,
is.
I've got to a certain age, I need a phone, and yeah.
Well, as a parent, you've dealt with that, haven't you?
Yeah.
I know Matt will be as well, but Matt, you have bigger things to